It is June 12th, 2016. This is the Watchman News, and I'm Mike Callahan. We're all sitting here waiting and excited. I can tell by the comments in the chat, everybody's just thrilled. We are waiting for Obama's statement about the shooting in Florida last night. Early this morning. The latest numbers I have seen have been the death toll was 50, and I'm not quite sure how many that puts injured. I think maybe 40, I think Memento said earlier. So we're sitting here, we're waiting for Obama's statement. I'm pretty positive there's probably going to be a lot of gun control mentioned in the statement. So we'll get back, or we'll sit back and wait. Everybody's so excited, I can tell.
I need a picture. We know, you know what we need? We need a picture of Obama, and we need to throw.
I won't mention names or anything, but I don't think you'll be able to raise your boots high enough or your feet high enough, so maybe you should put on the waders, the hip waders. And even then, I would go with full wetsuit, diving gear maybe. I will also, for those that are watching the video later on, I need to change the date. For those that are watching the video later on, I will put in the description when his appearance is being made on this video, so you can fast forward through my nonsense. Show the bald guy.
Yes, we would much rather see the bald guy.
So Obama's late. He must be golfing. He's probably putting up the golf clubs right now. I need one of those. I need a BS warning button with like a siren whenever I hit it. Oh, and you gotta love this. It's such an important, tense moment, and I gotta change my batteries. Not those kind of batteries, the batteries in my e-cig. Which bathroom is he doing that?
Yeah.
And how is everybody doing today, or should I say, how do you identify today? Yeah, I don't think we're quite to martial law state yet. I don't think we're there yet. But I will say, and I have been saying to expect events like this, and I will say it again, expect events like this. They're going to pick up in severity and the amount. Fun. Beginning shortly. 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Well, our time must be off, other than just the, time zone, because he's 5 minutes late. Maybe he's having teleprompter problems.
Maybe he doesn't have his speech person.
Maybe he's putting on his Maybelline.
No Obama yet.
Well, I wonder if the taxpayers get a refund for this time. So we actually sold one of our units on eBay today. That was cool. Got it all ready to go out. I would probably say that waiting for Obama to speak is better than listening to him speak. I'm sucking on an acid tablet. That's why. That's why it probably came out like Unix. Well, and I seen something on RT that says that there was some type of declaration about the headline is Orlando gay club shooter suspected of pledging allegiance to ISIS. Ah. There we go. I was going to try and get it up on the screen, but we change the date on this one. So while we're waiting for Obama, the headline was Orlando gay club shooter suspected of pledging allegiance to ISIS, U.S. Congressman citing police. Huh? Omar Mateen, the man suspected of taking 50 lives in an Orlando gay club, is believed to have sworn allegiance to ISIS, U.S. Congressman Adam Schiff said, citing local law enforcement. He stressed the legitimacy of the connection is still being investigated. And he states the fact that this shooting took place during Ramadan and the ISIS leadership in Raqqa has been urging attacks during this time, that the target was an LGBT nightclub during Pride, and, if accurate, that according to local law enforcement, the shooter declared his allegiance to ISIS, indicates an ISIS-inspired act of terrorism, Representative Adam Schiff said in a statement. There is no immediate evidence proving any connection between the Orlando shooting and Islamic State or any other foreign extremist organization, U.S. officials told Reuters on condition of anonymity. I can't speak. Earlier, Senator Bill Nelson also talked about the alleged links between Mateen and Islamic terrorists. I asked the FBI if there was any connection to Islamic radicalism. There appears to be, but they are naturally cautious and waiting throughout to see if this is in fact true, Nelson said at a news conference on Sunday. Information is still coming in about Omar Mateen, the U.S. citizen who opened fire at Pulse nightclub in Orlando, Florida, but it appears that he had been on the FBI's radar. Listen to this, but it appears he had been on the FBI's radar for the past 5 years, according to CBS News. How many times has this happened? Where they've been on radar, but they do nothing. They just sit back and they wait. So I wonder if that term, being on radar, really means being under something like MK Ultra. I mean, I hate to break out the tinfoil hat here, but this has happened way too many times. Oh yeah, we've been watching this guy for years. Same happened with the San Bernardino shooters. They've been watching them for quite a while too. Although the incidents that brought Mateen to the FBI's attention are still unknown, senior law enforcement sources told the Daily Beast that he became a person of interest in both 2013 and 2014, calling him a known quantity. Investigations into Mateen were closed when they found nothing of substance. When asked if the suspect had any affiliation with the Islamic State, the FBI assistant agent in charge, Ron Hopper, said, "We do have suspicions that the individual may have leanings towards that ideology." When pushed to answer what led him to believe that, he clarified that all possibilities were being investigated. While Mateen's connections to Islamic extremism are still being investigated, Mateen's father, Mir Sadiq, believes that this was an act of homophobia and not religious. Wait a minute here. That don't make any sense. Okay. Mir Sadiq told NBC that he had seen his son become angry when two men kissed in front of his son. Sadiq told NBC News this has nothing to do with religion. Okay, this is not making any sense. Sadiq also expressed his condolences, saying we are apologizing for the whole incident. We weren't aware of any action he is taking. We are in shock like the whole country. So I guess homophobia isn't religiously based. I'm from reading this, I guess it must be some type of mental disorder. Wow. I'm going to call that right now, right here, as being a point of interest, okay? Because I stated back, and I wished I had record of it, I stated back right when the Boston Marathon bombing happened, I stated that we had to be really careful because I noticed that they jumped to say that that was a weapon of mass destruction. Yes, a pressure cooker bomb, a weapon of mass destruction. Now, don't get me wrong, it can do a lot of damage, but a pressure cooker is far from a weapon of mass destruction. And I said then that they were doing that, they were using that to re-identify. Oh my God, there's the identify thing again. to re-identify what a WMD was. So basically, in the end, they could find a firecracker in your house and say that's a weapon of mass destruction. So I'm going to call that out as a point of interest. It is very interesting. All right, we'll bring you back to the lame screen. What do you mean, Memento? Sorry, I just looked over. Well, no, that's the first time I've heard it kind of indicated that homophobia was just in people's minds, and in a way, it is something in somebody's mind. But why are they disconnecting that from religion? Because every religion that I'm aware of, it's, well, in the Christian belief system, it's looked at as an abomination. I don't know what word they use in the Muslim faith, but there is something that they use. I've got a page doing some weird stuff. But I'm sure there's a word they have for it that's equivalent to abomination. And I don't understand how they've totally disconnected it from religion, and I don't really know where they're going with that. But I know that that's an inaccurate statement, and I think it fully has to do with his beliefs. That's why he's so rooted that firmly in being against it, that he would pick up firearms and kill 50 people. Yes, apparently it was BS about no connection to ISIS. So again, I hold all of this loosely, especially right now until we get more information in. I would hold any information very loosely, and then I would keep an eye out for changes in the story. That is a change in the story. Now saying 3 shooters. Where are you seeing that information at? We'll definitely dig that up. I mean, one guy, 50 dead, 53 wounded is the latest I'm seeing. That's coming out of Wall Street Journal. I just put a Google search in for multiple shooters Orlando, and I'm not seeing anything where it claims any more than the one shooter. But that is a pretty stunning amount of people for one shooter. That's kind of what I'm calling BS on. Yeah, I'll have to check I'm looking at that. Let me pull that up on screen. The link you just sent. Okay, so this is saying the headline. This is from shoebat.com. The headline is Major Muslim Terrorist Makes This Declaration to All Americans. We are coming after you. We will attack Florida and slaughter Americans there. Now, this story was posted on June 9th, 2016. This is by Theodore Shubat, and it says, ISIS Muslim terrorists released a statement on their plan to attack Florida and even put out a list with the names of people in Florida that they plan on killing, according to one report. A pro-ISIS group has released a hit list with the names of more than 8,000 people, mostly Americans. Now, we did actually go over this and talk about this a little bit the other day. I remember this. More than 600 people live in Florida, and one security expert believes that many of those targeted live in Palm Beach County and on the Treasure Coast. The United Cyber Caliphate that hacked U.S. Central Command 54,000 Twitter accounts and threatened President Barack Obama is the same pro-ISIS group that's reportedly created a kill list with the names, addresses, and emails of thousands of civilian Americans. Reports of the list came to light online when Vocative reported the list was shared via the encrypted app Telegram and called on supporters to kill. Former FBI agent turned lawyer Stuart Kaplan says that the threat is especially alarming because the people on this list are civilians who don't have the security necessary to protect themselves. It's going to create some hysteria, he said. Kaplan believes civilians from our community are on the list. I would suspect a head of the hospital or perhaps a local community leader. Those are the individuals that may appear on the list, or just a local banker or local school teacher, someone who, for some reason, was in the public eye. Kaplan is concerned the list will inspire lone wolf-style attacks. If, in fact, a sympathizer gets a hold of this list and is readily able to identify you as being his neighbor, then decides, because they're a sympathizer, to go out and do something horrific to you. There is no way to calculate the potential or to prevent that. The list has not yet been made public. Sorry, I'm reading ahead. We reached out to the FBI, the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office, and Martin County Sheriff's Office to see how credible they view the threat and what action they might be taking. We are awaiting their response. According to the Martin County Sheriff's Office, the FBI is aware of this, and the agency will work closely with the Joint Terrorism Task Force to keep citizens safe. See how well that's working, right? Wow. So I will put, when I upload this video, I will put all the links of any stories I read in the description tab. So, but yeah, I did this search here, and wow, 50 killed, 53 wounded. And I want to go back to that. I want to talk to that one person, one guy. Now, I saw something on Facebook earlier that said something, this person was in disbelief as well, because apparently their claim was there was like 6 vehicles in the parking lot. So their question was, did the shooter go around with his van and pick everybody up and take them there? And that's a good point. That's a good question. If there were that few vehicles in the parking lot, that is a very good question. Wow, that's a lot of people. That is a lot of people. My first question would be, was it a fully automatic? And the reason why I asked that is because, okay, I could see if you had a fully automatic and you just started spraying into the crowd. Okay. But a semi-automatic, you can't quite spray like that. I mean, you can pop the rounds off fairly quick, but There's a difference. We'll go back to the lame screen for white now. Oh, 320. Okay, I'm just now looking back in the chat. Sorry. Okay. Over the course of 4 minutes. No. Not buying it. Unless he was, unless he had a fully automatic. Evil, you in there? What are your thoughts? Okay. Thank you, Memento. I am doing that now. Alrighty, we're going to go over the article in the Gateway Pundit. Its headline is, ISIS announced Florida threat 3 days ago, we will attack Florida. On Saturday night, an Islamic extremist murdered 50 people at a post-gay nightclub in Orlando, Florida. And it's got images, I guess it's a video of the incident from ABC News, picture of ISIS, tweet talking about the threat 3 days ago. Okay, Shubat.com reported on the threat 3 days ago. ISIS Muslim terrorists released a statement on their plan to attack Florida and even put out a list with the names of people in Florida that they plan on killing, according to one. Oh. We apparently are about to see the dictator take stage. That's what I was thinking, Evil. I'm going to go ahead and pull my mic offline while we wait for the speech, or whatever you want to call it, his statement.
Momentarily. We just got the 2-minute warning a short time ago. We expect him to show the same types of frustration following a mass shooting. All too routine, saying that thoughts and prayers are no longer enough. Here comes the president.
Today, as Americans, we grieve the brutal murder, a horrific massacre of dozens of innocent people. We pray for their families who are grasping for answers with broken hearts. We stand with the people of Orlando who have endured a terrible attack on their city. Although it's still early in the investigation, we know enough to say that this was an act of terror and an act of hate. And as Americans, we are united in grief, in outrage, and in resolve to defend our people. I just finished a meeting with FBI Director Comey and my Homeland Security and National Security advisors. The FBI is on the scene and leading the investigation in partnership with local law enforcement. I've directed that the full resources of the federal government be made available for this investigation. We are still learning all the facts. This is an open investigation. we've reached no definitive judgment on the precise motivations of the killer. The FBI is appropriately investigating this as an act of terrorism, and I've directed that we must spare no effort to determine what, if any, inspiration or association this killer may have had with terrorist groups. What is clear is that he was a person filled with hatred. Over the coming days, we will uncover why and how this happened, and we will go wherever the facts lead us. This morning I spoke with my good friend Orlando Mayor Buddy Dyer, and I conveyed to him the deepest condolences of the American people. This could have been any one of our communities. So I told Mayor Dyer that whatever help he and the people of Orlando need, they are going to get it. As a country, we will be there for the people of Orlando today, tomorrow, and for all the days to come. We also express our profound gratitude to all the police and first responders who rushed to harm's way. Their courage and professionalism saved lives and kept the carnage from being even worse. It's the kind of sacrifice that our law enforcement professionals make every single day for all of us, and we can never thank them enough. This is an especially heartbreaking day for all of our friends, our fellow Americans who are lesbian, gay, bisexual, or transgender. The shooter targeted a nightclub where people came together to be with friends, to dance and to sing and to live. The place where they were attacked is more than a nightclub. It is a place of solidarity and empowerment where people have come together to raise awareness, to speak their minds, and to advocate for their civil rights. So this is a sobering reminder that attacks on any American, regardless of race, ethnicity, religion, or sexual orientation, is an attack on all of us and on the fundamental values of equality and dignity that define us as a country. And no act of hate or terror will ever change who we are or the values that make us Americans. Today marks the most deadly shooting in American history. The shooter was apparently armed with a handgun and a powerful assault rifle. This massacre is therefore a further reminder of how easy it is for someone to get their hands on a weapon that lets them shoot people in a school, or in a house of worship, or a movie theater, or in a nightclub. And we have to decide if that's the kind of country we want to be. And to actively do nothing is a decision as well. In the coming hours and days, we'll learn about the victims of this tragedy. Their names, their faces, who they were, the joy that they brought to families and to friends, and the difference that they made in this world. Say a prayer for them, and say a prayer for their families. That God give them the strength to bear the unbearable, and that He give us all the strength to be there for them, and the strength and courage to change. We need to demonstrate that we are defined more as a country by the way they live their lives than by the hate of the man who took them from us. As we go together, we will draw inspiration from heroic and selfless acts. Friends who helped friends, took care of each other, and saved lives. In the face of hate and violence, we will love one another. We will not give in to fear or turn against each other. Instead, we will stand united as Americans to protect our people and defend our nation and to take action against those who threaten us. May God bless the Americans we lost this morning. May He comfort their families. May God continue to watch over this country that we love. Thank you.
Well, that was certainly short and sweet. I'm actually surprised that he didn't announce some type of executive order that he was going to sign. Let me grab that link. Hang on, I'm letting the page load up here. I'm having no audio from it. That's interesting. Yeah, apparently there is no audio that it's allowing me to utilize. Let me see if I can find a story that I can read. I should say, can attempt to read. Is that something that I can read there? Let me pull that up. Oh. Okay, well here's one from Heavy. I guess either one's probably okay. This link will also be down in the description tab. The headline is, Orlando Mayor, Florida Governor declares state of emergency after Orlando nightclub shooting. Orlando police respond to the mass shooting at the gay nightclub Pulse, where 50 people were killed and 53 injured. After the worst mass shooting in U.S. history, Orlando Mayor Buddy Dyer and Florida Governor Rick Scott both declared a state of emergency, dedicating government resources to investigate the massacre at the gay nightclub Pulse. Police said 50 people were killed and 53 injured. And the gunman was identified as Omar Mateen, who was killed by a SWAT team at the scene. The 29-year-old was an American citizen who lived in Port St. Lucie. Dyer declared a state of emergency at 10:20 a.m. He also said that a hotline has been set up for family members at that phone number. We're dealing with something we've never imagined. Since the last update, we have gotten better access to the building, cleared the building. It is with great sadness I share that we have 50 casualties in addition to the shooter. Because of the scale, I have called Governor Scott to request a state of emergency, and we are issuing a state of emergency in the city. This allows us to bring additional resources to support our efforts. Our focus in the coming hours will be identifying the victims and notifying the families. We are setting up a hotline for concerned family members at that number. The identification process may take some time. We ask for your patience as we want to be accurate. I continue to be proud of how our community has responded. Scott issued a statement a short time later from Tallahassee. He has arrived in Orlando to meet with officials there. You can read the governor's state of emergency decree here. Scott called it clearly an act of terror, and we'll read that in just a moment here. Today, Governor Rick Scott released the following statement on this morning's shooting in Orlando. Governor Scott said, our thoughts and prayers are with the victims, families, and all those affected by this horrific tragedy. We are a strong and resilient state, and we will devote every resource available to assist with the shooting in Orlando. Our State Emergency Operations Center is also monitoring this tragic incident. I have been in constant communication with Orlando Mayor Buddy Dyer, Orange County Mayor Teresa Jacobs, and state and local law enforcement this morning. I would like to also thank all the first responders who quickly came to assist and help those in need. Governor Scott is traveling to Orlando now to meet with law enforcement and local officials. An updated schedule will be released shortly. Okay, let me click that link here. Open it up in another tab. Alrighty, it reads as follows. I have to be careful with the video I play though, because I am going to cut this out as a recording, so I have to be careful of the video I play. It's okay for me to play the White House statement, but to play other people's news reports on a recording could get me flagged. State of Florida, Office of the Governor, Executive Order number 16-142. State of emergency, Orange County. Whereas, during the early morning hours of June 12, 2016, a mass shooting and hostage situation occurred at a nightclub in Orlando, Florida, Orange County, and whereas the ongoing investigation by the Orlando Police Department, Orange County Sheriff's Department, Florida Department of Law Enforcement, and Federal Bureau of Investigation initially reports there are over 50 reported fatalities and over 50 injuries, and whereas the city of Orlando declared a local state of emergency on June 12, 2016, and whereas as governor, I am responsible to meet the dangers presented to the state and its people by this emergency. Now therefore, I, Rick Scott, as governor of Florida, by virtue of authority vested in me by Article 4, Section 1A of the Florida Constitution and by the Florida Emergency Management Act as amended and all other applicable laws, promulgate the following executive order to take immediate effect. Section 1. Because of the foregoing conditions, I declare that a state of emergency exists in Orange County. Section 2. I designate the Commissioner of the Florida Department of Law Enforcement as the state coordinating officer for the duration of this emergency and direct that he execute the state's comprehensive emergency management plan and other responsive recovery and mitigation plans necessary to cope with the emergency pursuant to Section 252.361A. Florida statutes, I delegate to the state coordinating officers the authority to exercise those powers delineated in sections 252.36, 5 through 10, Florida statutes, which he shall exercise as needed to meet this emergency, subject to the limitations of section 252.33, Florida statutes. In exercising the powers delegated by this order, the state coordinating officer shall confer with the governor to the fullest extent practicable. The state coordinating officer shall also have the authority to A, invoke and administer the Emergency Management Assistance Compact, otherwise known as EMAC, sections 252.921 through 933 Florida statutes, and other compacts and agreements existing between the state of Florida and other states, the further authority to coordinate the allocation of resources from such other states that are made available to Florida under such compacts and agreements so as best to meet this emergency. B, seek direct assistance and enter into agreements with any and all of agencies of the United States government as may be needed to meet the emergency. C, direct all state, regional, and local governmental agencies, including law enforcement agencies, to identify personnel needed from those agencies to assist in meeting the needs created by this emergency, and to place all such personnel under the direct command and coordination of the state coordinating officer to meet this emergency. Designate deputy state coordinating officers. The state coordinating officer shall have the authority to enter such orders as may be needed to implement any of the foregoing powers. Section 3. All state agencies entering emergency final orders and other final actions in response to this emergency shall advise the state coordinating officer contemporaneously, never heard of that word, or as soon as practical. Why couldn't they just say as soon as practical? Section 4. All actions taken by the Commissioner of the Florida Department of Law Enforcement with respect to his emergency before the issuance of his executive order are ratified. This executive order shall expire 30 days from this date unless extended. In testimony whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the great seal of the state of Florida to be affixed at Tallahassee this 12th day of June, 2016. Wow. And I do want to say something about the date. And I'm not going crazy with this, but I made a statement kind of humorously in the chat earlier today about the date. I do want to go on record and say something about it. I'm not a numerologist. I don't get into all that stuff, but I will make a note of it just in case. The date, the first number of today's date is 6. The last number of today's date is 6. If you add up the numbers in between, 1 plus 2 plus 2 plus 1, that also equals 6. So today's date could easily be translated into 666. I just wanted to throw that out there. I'm not somebody that's into all that stuff, but nonetheless. I'm looking into the chat real quick. From an ex-wife, information from an ex-wife. Okay, we'll check out that report, and then I'll probably close up this video so it's not too long so people actually watch it. I forget the term that BC Truck used with his wife. I can't remember how he put it. The video was over 5 minutes, so there was some term he used for it. It was kind of funny. Oops. Let me catch this before it goes on because I don't want to get flagged. News web pages load up so slow. It's ridiculous. It's because of all the advertising. All right, this is on ABC News. This link will also be down in the About tab if you want to watch the video. This is titled, What We Know About Omar Mateen, Suspected Orlando Nightclub Shooter. The article goes as follows. Omar Mateen, a 29-year-old U.S.-born citizen, has been identified as a suspect in Sunday's mass shooting that left at least 50 dead and more than 50 others wounded at the Pulse Orlando, a gay nightclub in Orlando, Florida. In the midst of the attack, Mateen called 911 and pledged his allegiance to ISIS, according to 2 law enforcement officials. That's interesting. I wonder if we'll be hearing the call. Anyway, terrorism observers told ABC News that while ISIS supporters have cheered the massacre online, so far there has been no claim of responsibility from any terrorist organization and no evidence of inside knowledge of the plot. ISIS, which is based in Syria, has targeted gay men for beatings and murder in the Middle East and has filmed its members throwing some men suspected of being gay from the roofs of buildings. During Mateen's 911, he also made reference to the 2013 Boston Marathon bombers, Tamirian and the Sarna brothers. I don't know how to pronounce that first name there. Law enforcement officials told ABC News that Mateen was on the radar of U.S. security officials for some time, but was not the target of a specific investigation. Mateen, whose parents are from Afghanistan, was born in New York but lived in an apartment in Fort Pierce, Florida, more than 100 miles from Orlando, officials said. At least 50, public records show Mateen was divorced in 2011, and his ex-wife said today he was violent, mentally unstable, and beat her repeatedly when they were married. The woman said she met Mateen online about 8 years ago and moved to Florida to marry him, at first reported by the Washington Post. He was not a stable person, the ex-wife said, according to the Post. He beat me. He would just come home and start beating me up because the laundry wasn't finished or something like that. Officials said Mateen had 2 firearms licenses, a security officer's license, and a statewide firearms license, all expiring in September 2017. Mateen worked for the security firm G4S since 2007. The company said, adding that it was cooperating fully with law enforcement. Wow. Again, I'll put all the links to these articles down in the About tab. Wow. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and close this video up, and we'll continue discussion in the live show.